Yeah, I think we should read it and really.
Who is Superman Prime 1 million? Superman Prime was our Kal-El from the 21st century. Eventually, he came to outlive every single person that he cared for. Through the end of the 21st century, he went on a grand journey through the universe. Along the way, he unlocked many new powers and abilities, even breaking through the source wall. But at the end of his journey, he decided to sit and lay dormant inside of the sun. He did that for 15,000 years. And when he emerged, he had become a golden god. Being in the sun that duration of time supercharged his cells and granted him near infinite power. And he's able to do some crazy stuff. He's able to literally bestow powers upon people, greater powers than even the strongest metahuman. But the greatest power he gains is the ability to warp reality. He uses that power to bring back the love of his life, Lois Lane, and he brings her back in an invulnerable, immortal body. And after he does that, he goes one step further. From a fragment of Krypton, he remakes the entire planet, finally being able to have the power to bring back his wife and his home. Who is Superman Prime 1 million?
Hey, by the way, and so here's my take on this, and it's neat and all that.
Wait, did y'all really?
A lot of the characters that I like in comics, they don't really have a lot of powers going on, and I know people are like, that's almost like a manga type thing. Like, let's have Goku where he's like so stupid powerful that like nobody can beat him or whatever. But I mean, I think that things like Daredevil are cool. I think things like the Phantom Stranger are cool. No, excuse me, Phantom Stranger is a horrible example because Phantom Stranger is overpowered, but he's the vengeance of God, and he doesn't come off that way. He's not typically like lobbing a planet at somebody or whatever. I saw some stuff in that one DC New World History, and they were talking about the Unknown Soldier, and I kind of thought that was neat. His face is all bandaged, and he'll wear like masks, which seems like Darkman before Darkman was ever conceived in anyone's mind. But it was at Raimi, I think, that made him. But I think characters like that a lot of times are neater because things can actually happen to them where they don't just like have it all going on. So as a writer, if I was writing a Superman Prime comic, I would think, what level of threat, like unrealistic, crazy, stupid level of threat would some villain have to be for them to be like a threat to him in this comic or to anybody or whatever. When you've got the Superman that's that powerful, I think that it creates almost a paradoxical problem to have characters that are that strong, because it turns into like a One Punch Man scenario. One Punch Man is really self-aware, and the thing about him is that he's anticlimactic, because anytime that he just shows up, he just swats somebody down.
No, but not towards the end. Towards the end, he meets rivals that are.
Does he?
Yeah. One Punch Man has, and especially in the anime, right?
I've not watched all the anime. I've seen like a couple episodes and all that, and people talk.
But don't forget the series. The series is much longer than the.
I know that it is.
Yeah, and he meets rivals, and that's what he gets off on. Like, he meets those rivals, and he's able to fight back. I mean, eventually there's always going to be a rival, One Punch Man. I mean, but then there's like the final one punch that he needs. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, you've got a lot of things that are being talked in comics and media here lately. And Disney is a multi-billion-dollar company. They're not just making money off of movies, they're making it off of video games and all that. Can you hear me and all? It looks like I'm frozen.
You probably are frozen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, well, all right. So anyway, I guess it'll kick back in, but whatever. But all this stuff goes on with their things. To me, it seems weird, and I'm sure they know things that I don't know by virtue of the fact that they're sitting where they're sitting and I'm sitting where I'm sitting, and I have no comprehension how difficult Rob Liefeld actually is to work with, even though I could guess. He's done enough stuff that you could say, man, he'd be a hard person to work with and all that. I do think that he's knowledgeable about comics, and I do think that Deadpool in movies make money, and it's, do they really have so much disdain for working with this dude that they I loved the Thunderbolts movie. I liked it a lot.
They all say it flopped.
No, hear me out. I liked it a lot. It was one of the better movies. So if you say to me, Ben, why didn't this do any good? most people, myself included, did not know who the Thunderbolts were. If it's like, where was the demand for this movie? There wasn't. So the only selling point is that this is a Marvel movie, but not just a Marvel movie. A Marvel movie after Marvel has done so many things that flopped and flopped and flopped and flopped and flopped. And then we're going to give you something that turns out to be good, but that there's zero demand for outside of like Bucky being in it. You know, there's zero demand for this movie whatsoever. And yeah, I was
You know what's happening, right? Why you there? We have some technical issues.
it was a good movie,
Yeah.
but it's not simply the king of Disney. What I can do, whatever I take a notion. There's going to be a Deadpool 4 because Deadpool 4 means that all these board people are making money. And if you're like, what are you going to do in Deadpool 4? I know a little bit about comics, right? Not
So
everything, but a little bit.
we can say, listen, I'm going to give you a critique.
Deadpool and Spider-Man have had a lot of history together. Spider-Man equals money, Deadpool equals money. Stick those two in a movie because you had Deadpool and Wolverine before, and both of them are pulling people in. Crazy, stupid money. So you're
But
making money.
I heard what's it called is not going to let it happen. I heard Sony Pictures
Kevin
has
Feige.
that. I heard
No. Disney has Spider-Man.
No, Sony also has that.
No, you're incorrect. Sony has characters from the Spider-Man world that aren't Spider-Man, which is why they keep doing spin-offs with characters like Morbius and whatnot that aren't Spider-Man. Because that seems nuts, but it's that they have those characters, but Disney has Spider-Man, and it's been that way because the lady that worked for Sony that had whatever ties, and now she's in with Disney. All that came about and happened. I don't want to try and guess her name. I don't remember her name. But no, Disney has Spider-Man. They've made multiple Spider-Man movies. Sony has a bunch of Spider-Man villains. That's why they did Kraven, which I liked, by the way. But again, you would say it flopped, but I liked it. I thought it was an okay movie. And you've got people that live and breathe wanting to hate these things.
So what's happening is, listen, what's happening is very simple. For some reason, Disney is not able to have a successful new MCU franchise. So let's understand which franchises succeed. Iron Man, Avengers, Wakanda, right? Which is Black Panther.
I know. That's Black Panther and all that.
Yeah. So all that are the only ones that are really successful.
Yeah, they're
X-Men was the jump start for it.
The Avengers and things are dropping off. So you had the dude over at Disney saying that I want to make a Blade movie, but I don't want it to be about a guy just wearing leather and killing vampires, which people have already stood up and wildly criticized that and said that shows you that he knows nothing about Blade.
Blade was the number one. Blade was the number one. I think that was the first.
It was that was the first MCU. You give the people what they want.
And it's interesting that was the first one and the most successful.
Everybody
Blade. I remember when I was young, like, oh, Blade. It was like we went to the theaters for Blade. It was like such a big thing. Blade. You know, like, wow, Blade.
How hard is that to do, really, though, comparatively? You have a script about a guy that's half vampire, that's hunting down and killing vampires because they're bad. You don't really have to explain it. That's like you don't have to explain that a Nazi is bad. You know that they're bad. They're vampires. They're doing crazy stuff, by the way, right now in One World Under Doom. This gets into a little political, so I'm going to be vague. You've got the illegal alien stuff going in. It's basically like that, only it's vampires are coming in, and so you've got the good guys trying to stand up for the vampires, which is insane and stupid writing. Because a vampire, by all accounts, I know you watch Twilight too much, but a vampire,
I never watched Twilight.
No, I'm saying people in general.
No,
a vampire, by all accounts, is the bad guy. They want to drink your blood, your cattle to them because they're a vampire. They're dead, they're undead, they're cursed. They can't even be out in the daylight.
Which is funny. There was never historically ever real vampires. Just a side point.
There was vampirism. That's an interesting.
That's true.
Dude, and they would like bleed, and they would say that, man, must be once they tie all these knots and everything, all kinds of stuff.